One early morning, Adebisi woke up and saw her reflection in the small mirror by her bed. Her eyes widened in shock. Her belly was big, too big, and her body was round and heavy. She was pregnant, but it seemed like she had been pregnant forever. The baby was not coming out, and she didn't know why. Adebisi walked outside, hoping to find answers. The sun was just rising, casting a soft light over the village. But as soon as the villagers saw her, they began to laugh and point. "Look at her," someone shouted. "She must have done something to anger the gods." Adebisi felt her face grow hot with shame. She hadn't done anything wrong, but no one believed her. Every day, the people in the village would whisper and giggle as she walked by. They would say things like, "Maybe she is cursed," or "She must have made someone very angry." Adebisi tried to ignore them, but it was hard. She felt so alone. Her friends no longer visited her, and even her family started to keep their distance. "Maybe the gods are punishing us too," they said. Days turned into weeks, and still, Adebisi's baby did not come. Her body grew heavier, and she found it difficult to move. She stayed inside most of the time, listening to the sounds of the village outside. The laughter and the mocking words echoed in her ears, making her heart ache. One day, an old woman named Aya Alaro came to visit Adebisi. She was known for her wisdom and kindness. "My child," she said, "I have heard the whispers. But do not listen to them. Sometimes, things happen that we cannot understand." Adebisi looked at Aya Alaro with tears in her eyes. "But why is this happening to me? What have I done?" Aya Alaro shook her head. "You have done nothing wrong, Adebisi. Life is a mystery, and sometimes, we must face challenges we do not understand. But you are strong, and you will get through this." Adebisi nodded, feeling a small spark of hope. But as Aya Alaro left, she wondered if that hope would be enough. Every day was a struggle, and the villagers' words cut deep. One evening, as the sky turned orange and pink, Adebisi sat outside her hut, watching the sunset. She thought about her life before all of this happened. She remembered laughing with her friends, dancing at festivals, and dreaming about her future. Now, all those dreams seemed so far away. Suddenly, she heard footsteps behind her. She turned and saw a young girl from the village. The girl hesitated, then stepped closer. "Adebisi," she said softly, I believe you. I don't think you did anything wrong." Adebisi felt tears fill her eyes again, but this time, they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you," she whispered. The girl smiled shyly and ran back to her home. Adebisi watched her go, feeling a little less alone. But as the night fell and the village grew quiet, Adebisi's heart was still heavy. She didn't know what the future held or if her baby would ever come. All she knew was that she had to keep going, one day at a time, despite the whispers and the mocking words. Adebisi lay down on her mat, her mind filled with questions. Would she ever be free from this burden? Would the villagers ever stop mocking her? And most importantly, would her baby ever be born? As she drifted off to sleep, she clung to Aya Alaro's words, "You are strong, and you will get through this." But deep down, Adebisi wondered if her strength would be enough. The next morning, Adebisi woke up to the sound of children playing outside. She sighed and sat up slowly, her heavy body making every movement difficult. She tried to push away the sadness, but it was always there, like a shadow that never left her side. As she stepped outside, the laughter of the children stopped. They stared at her with wide eyes, and then one of them pointed and giggled. "Look, it's the fat lady with the never-ending pregnancy." Adebisi's heart sank. She forced a smile and walked past them, trying to keep her head up. She decided to go to the market to buy some food. She hadn't been there in a while because she was afraid of the stares and whispers. At the market, it was worse than she feared. People paused in their shopping to point and laugh. One woman whispered loudly to her friend, "I heard she must have done something terrible to be cursed like this." Another man laughed and said, "Maybe she's hiding a whole family in that belly of hers." Adebisi felt her face burn with shame. She quickly bought what she needed and hurried home, trying to ignore the mocking voices. When she got back to her hut, she sat down and cried. She didn't understand why this was happening to her. She had always been kind to everyone. Why were they treating her like this? Days passed, and the mocking only grew worse. Some people started leaving things outside her hut: broken pottery, spoiled food, and once, a dead rat. Each time, Adebisi's heart broke a little more. She felt so alone, so helpless. One night, as Adebisi lay awake, she heard someone knocking on her door. She sat up, fear gripping her heart. "Who is it?" she called out. "It's me, Aya Alaro," came the gentle reply. Adebisi quickly opened the door, letting the old woman inside. Aya Alaro looked at her with kind eyes. "My child, I heard about what the villagers are doing to you. I came to see if you are okay." Adebisi shook her head, tears streaming down her face. "I don't know how much more I can take, Aya Alaro. Everyone hates me. They think I am cursed." Aya Alaro sat down beside her and took her hand. "People fear what they do not understand. But you must not lose hope, Adebisi. You must be strong even when it feels impossible." Adebisi nodded, but deep down, she wondered if she had any strength left. As Aya Alaro left, she felt a little better, but the sadness and fear were still there. The next day, Adebisi decided to go to the river to wash her clothes. She hoped that being in nature would calm her mind. As she walked to the river, she could hear the whispers and laughter following her. But she tried to focus on the sound of the water and the birds singing in the trees. At the river, she met another woman named Bola, who was also washing clothes. Bola looked at Adebisi with pity. "I don't know why this is happening to you, Adebisi," she said softly. "But I believe that someday, things will get better." Adebisi smiled weakly. "Thank you, Bola. I hope you are right." But as she walked back to her hut, the words of the villagers filled her mind again. They were like sharp knives, cutting into her heart. She tried to stay strong, but each day felt like a heavy weight pressing down on her. Weeks turned into months, and still, Adebisi's baby did not come. Her body grew heavier, and the mocking voices grew louder. She felt like she was trapped in a never-ending nightmare. But she remembered Aya Alaro's words and tried to hold on to a tiny spark of hope. One evening, as Adebisi sat outside her hut, she saw a group of villagers approaching. Her heart pounded with fear. What did they want now? One of the men stepped forward. "Adebisi," he said, his voice harsh, "we have decided that you must leave the village. You are bringing bad luck to us all." Adebisi's eyes widened in shock. "Leave the village? But where will I go?" "That is not our concern," the man replied. "You must leave by tomorrow, or we will force you out." Adebisi felt like the ground was falling away beneath her. She had no choice but to leave the only home she had ever known. As the villagers walked away, she sat down and cried, feeling more alone and scared than ever. The next morning, Adebisi packed her few belongings and started walking, not knowing where she would go or what would happen to her. She felt lost and afraid, but she knew she had to keep moving. She had to be strong even when everything seemed hopeless. Adebisi walked for hours, her swollen feet aching with every step. The sun beat down on her, and she struggled to find shade. She thought about the father of her unborn child, Olayinka. He had been kind and loving, but he died in a tragic accident long before she knew she was pregnant. She missed him terribly and wished he were here to help her through this. As she trudged along the dusty road, she came across a small village. The people there stared at her curiously, but they didn't mock her like the people in her own village. Adebisi was too tired and hungry to keep walking, so she approached an elderly woman who was sitting outside her hut. "Good afternoon, Ma," Adebisi said, her voice weak. "Please, can you help me? I have nowhere to go." The old woman looked at her with kind eyes. "What is your name, child?" "Adebisi," she replied. "I've been driven out of my village. They say I am cursed because I cannot deliver my baby." The woman's face softened. "My name is Aya Alaro. Come, sit down and rest. You look exhausted." Adebisi sat down gratefully and took a sip of the cool water that Aya Alaro offered her. "Thank you, Ma. I don't know what I would have done without your kindness." Aya Alaro patted her hand. "Stay here as long as you need. We will not turn you away." Days turned into weeks, and Adebisi tried to help out around the village as best as she could, but her heavy body made it difficult. Despite Aya Aloro's kindness, she could still hear the whispers of some villagers. They were wary of her and kept their distance. One evening, as she was resting outside, a group of children approached her. They were curious about the strange woman with the big belly. One of them, a little girl named Funmi, asked, "Auntie, why is your tummy so big?" Adebisi forced a smile. "I am carrying a baby, but why hasn't the baby come out?" another child asked. Adebisi's smile faltered. "I don't know, little one. I don't know." As the days went by, the whispers turned into rumors. Some people in the village began to believe that Adebisi's presence was a bad omen. They said that her continued pregnancy was a sign of the gods' displeasure. Some even suggested that she should leave their village as well. One night, Adebisi overheard a heated conversation between Aya Alaro and some of the villagers. "She has brought no harm to us," Aya Alaro said firmly. "She is just a woman in need, but what if she brings bad luck?" a man argued. "We cannot risk the wrath of the gods." Adebisi's heart sank. She couldn't believe she was facing rejection again. The next morning, Aya Alaro came to her. "Adebisi, my child, I am so sorry.